Closed captioning for great tastes is presented by Manitoba Pulse Growers, producing edible beans, peas, and soybeans to feed a healthy growing world. Manitoba Liquor Mart presents Great Tastes of Manitoba. Great Tastes is brought to you by GreatTastesMB.ca. Great Tastes is sponsored by Manitoba Agriculture, Food and Rural Development.
Hello and welcome to Great Tastes of Manitoba. I'm Des Daniels and we are here at the Grant Park Liquor Mart Education Center. And it could just be my imagination. I think I'm starting to feel a little bit healthier already. We have Roxanne Luco from Manitoba Pulse and Soybean Growers, and Ben Rush, of course, our product expert from Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries. We're going to get back to you in just a second. It's going to be an interesting evening. Roxanne, why don't you walk us through some of these amazing recipes? I'm so excited to learn more about pulses, so
yes.
Let's chat.
So we are making some neat recipes today. The first one is a pierogi dough using pinto bean flour.
Mm-hmm.
The second recipe is pinto bean and chia seed power balls.
Nice.
A good healthy snack.
Yeah, I know.
And the last one is a chocolate and almond espresso cake made with black bean flour.
Well, sir, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm totally thinking.
Where are you going with this?
Well, the only thing I was wondering is you mentioned there was espresso in there somewhere, right?
Yes.
Is it going to be like a very strong coffee flavor, or is it going to be pretty subtle?
Pretty subtle.
Cool.
Pretty
okay.
subtle. Actually, I think the almond flavor stands out more than the espresso flavor.
I can totally work with that,
Okay.
and we're going to have fun.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you back here in just a little bit. All right. So recipe number one, Roxanne, we're going to make pierogi dough. Now,
yes.
I, like being a card-carrying Ukrainian, I'm super interested to see how is this going to be the same? How is it going to be different? And where did you come up with these recipes?
So these recipes were actually developed for us by the Red River College Culinary Institute. And their goal was to take everyday ordinary recipes, swap in pulse ingredients to boost the nutritional value without compromising the taste or texture.
Right, and that's the thing about pulses is that they are so just uber healthy, right?
Yes, they are. They're
just
high
about
in
every way.
protein, high in fat, fiber, and low in fat.
Okay, well I can't wait
Yeah.
to see how this this turns out.
Yeah.
So, as far as the process goes, is it any different from making regular
No,
quote unquote
no.
pierogies? All right.
We're just substituting some of the regular white flour with pinto bean flour.
Okay.
So I've actually brought a few different bean flours to show you. Today we're going to be using the pinto bean flour, and it's going to give the pierogies a bit of a brown speckled look.
Okay.
You could also use black bean flour, which will make them even a little bit darker. It's more black speckled.
Okay.
If you want the nutritional value of the pulse flour without the color, you could use a navy bean flour because it's white.
Navy bean flour.
So then it wouldn't show visually.
Right. Okay.
One thing, when you're working with pulse flours, they're quite dense. So you don't want to use your measuring cup as a scoop.
Okay.
You want to make sure it's a bit lighter. So I often use a fork to fill the measuring cup because then it lets some air in.
Got some pockets in there.
And you're not packing it. If you pack the cup, you're going to end up with a very dense product.
Okay.
Because there'll be 20% more flour than you need.
All right. Oh, okay. So that's
So we're
kind of
just
the
going to
ratio.
add the pinto bean flour to the all-purpose white flour.
So then this particular recipe wouldn't be considered gluten-free.
No, it's not. Pulse
Okay.
flours alone are gluten-free, but this recipe, no, because it still has the white flour.
All right.
So again, we're boosting the nutritional value of a regular pierogi without affecting the taste or texture
Very
too much.
nice.
So we got a countryside egg here. I'm gonna whip it up real quick. We're gonna add water. Oops. And canola oil.
Okay.
So these are the wet ingredients. 6 ingredients, that's it.
That is it.
Flour, salt, and these. So we're gonna add this to the dry.
We've already got our butter sizzling away
Yes,
here.
I'm actually gonna take my rings off because they're getting tight already.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna mix it a little bit with a spoon first so I don't splash too much.
As far as once you've actually got your pulse flour measured off,
Yes.
in terms of how you work with it, is there any difference, or now you
No.
just kind of?
One thing I will mention with pulse flours, they do tend to have a beany flavor when you're dealing with the raw product.
Okay.
Once it's cooked, you'd never know. It doesn't give that aftertaste.
Really?
So if you tasted this dough raw,
Right now?
you would taste bean. Once they're cooked, you wouldn't.
Okay, I'm now tempted to try it.
So anyway, we're gonna mix this up like you would regular dough. So you can already kind of see a little bit that it's got the brown speckling in there from the pinto bean,
Right.
which some people think looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
This is messy. Anyway, once you've kneaded this for 3 to 4 minutes, you put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes or so just to set.
Let it set.
And then
Okay.
it's ready to go. So I do
right.
have a batch of dough
Okay, well,
ready.
why don't you go, because I think you may have to do a
I
wash
might have to wash, yes.
So I'll swap these two out while you're taking care of that.
Sure. Thank you.
And
oh my gosh.
you were
It's
also
very sticky.
Yes, it is. Well, but that's half the fun of. That's actually a good portion of the fun of pierogies. Actually, is a little bit of mess and getting the hands in there. And that's why when I was a kid, I used to love helping my grandma, my baba, make these, and love doing it with my kids now as well. So one of the things, Roxanne, that you were talking about that's very interesting is that it's a big year next year for pulses. Is that right?
Yes, actually, the United Nations has declared 2016 the International Year of Pulses. Which is a really...
So what, there's going to be like big celebrations or just
Yeah,
an
there'll be-
awareness thing, right? Because I don't think, I don't think they know as much about pulses. I think we need to start paying way more attention to them just simply because of the nutritional value there, right?
Yeah, they're so good for you and they're good for the environment.
How so?
Because they're one of the most affordable and sustainable sources of protein available. They're able to fix their own nitrogen,
Okay.
so they rely less on fossil fuels.
All right. So we're rolling them up here. We're rolling up our dough, and it just really, as far as texture goes, consistency, it seems exactly the same.
It's very easy to work with, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll cut a couple.
All right. And now I know with regular pierogies, you don't want to get the
You don't need
the
very much.
filling, but I'm just going to use my finger.
Sure.
It's going to make it a little bit easier, hopefully. Okay.
Whoa.
All right, do a little pinch there. I probably put a little bit too much in there.
Too much, that's
okay. But we're getting the idea here, and it just in terms of seeing how the flour looks and how the dough that it makes, we got a really good idea of what that looks like. All right, so there we go, our pierogi dough made with pulse flours, and when we come back, pinto bean and chia seed power balls here on Great Taste of Manitoba.
You're watching Great Tastes of Manitoba, brought to you in part by Manitoba Agriculture, Food and Rural Development.